Welcome back to Rivals in the Booth. I'm your host, Kyle Holton, along with my best friend and co-host, John Michael Roberts. And this
What's good,
is
everyone?
Rivals in the Booth. Well, John, we have some...
Hell of a week one, man.
Yeah, it's crazy week one. Arch Manning didn't look that great. Defense at Texas looked pretty good. Defense at Ohio State looked pretty good. Ohio State wins in what seems like a close game, but really you kind of look at it, it never felt truly close in my opinion watching that game, but 14-7 the final.
Matt Patricia had Arch Manning in hell of that game, dude.
Yeah, dude, that was crazy. That was crazy.
I mean, it looked like Sam Darnold out there instead of a Manning.
Yeah, honestly. Matt Patricia, welcome back. In other news, a guy who had his collegiate coaching debut, Bill Belichick, man, I mean, an absolute blowout by TCU in UNC, an insane game there, and just like that's a shocker. Also, we had Miami kind of doing really well against. Yeah, doing really well against Notre Dame. Notre Dame's quarterback, the first half didn't look great, but ended up looking pretty well in the second half. But enough with that. I know you're wanting to talk about this. I don't, but I guess we have to. Alabama losing 31-17 against Florida State. Honestly, the best thing that I can say about that game was Ty Simpson didn't look terrible. I don't think our offense is going to be the problem. I think our offensive line can play more consistent. I think defensively we were soft, and Florida State just controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the field, as Nick Saban said today or yesterday in the pregame for the UNC TCU game. And yeah, I agree. It was very disappointing. I've never seen an Alabama defense play that soft and just like kind of back off. Just wasn't a lot of fire. And you feel like there would be, especially with Tommy Cassiano's his comments this summer about not having Nick Saban to save them. Offensively, Ty Simpson looked pretty good. There were some opportunities he had that he could have got the ball out or should have ran maybe instead of throwing the ball, or should have just got the ball out quicker. Jeremy Bernard looked incredible. It's going to be our wide receiver one. But honestly, when your best receiver, you think, in Ryan Williams drops 3 balls. Now, granted, that last ball that he dropped, he did get a concussion on. But when your best receiver drops those 3 balls, like, you're not going to have that much confidence to throw down the field. So I'm not upset at Ty. I'm not upset that Kalen DeBoer. I think we had a good game plan going into this. Obviously, you would have liked to see more rushes and more rush yards, but offensive lines just got to play better. And secondly, like, I'm just disappointed in our defense. I think to have that many starters come back on defense and to have that loaded of talent on defense, they've got to play better, and they can't go out there being flat-footed. And I think just because of Kane Womack and who he is, and like I remember losing to Vandy last year, and that defense played incredible the rest of the year. And it was a similar situation in that Vandy game last year. I expect our defense to really step up, and we have a chance to kind of bounce back against ULM Monroe at home. Wow, UL Monroe at home. But just very disappointed. I say, like, I don't think, even watching the Vandy game last year, there's not really another game I can think of my whole lifetime that was harder to watch than that one yesterday. And I know that I'm young compared to other Alabama fans, and all I remember is Nick Saban. But I'm not going to overreact and call for Kalen DeBoer's job and fire everyone and clear house, because A, who are you going to hire? You can't afford it. And B, like, he's not Nick Saban. It's also week one. Like, everyone's saying Alabama's going to go 10-2, 11-1. In order for that to happen, you have to lose 1 or 2 games. Right. So I'm not like going to overreact to be like, this season's over. Like you'll see on social media right now. Like, I'm very disappointed in Alabama fans. I think we've been completely spoiled with Nick Saban, as most people have. And it's just like, hey, can you go look at what Alabama was doing in the 90s and early 2000s before Nick Saban got there, or what happened after Coach Bryant left? in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Like, calm down. There's not going to be
Yeah,
another Nick Saban.
he's a
At
go for
least
a
not for
reason.
another, like, exactly. And it's just like, calm down. Um, that's really all I have to say about that. I don't think there's much else to touch on unless you want to say something. I know you want to
Uh,
brag a little bit. Auburn got the dub.
yeah.
But we'll talk about Auburn in just a sec. But I'll go
Yeah.
ahead and
I
get
don't
your
got really
remarks on
much
this.
going on because like everything I was gonna bring up, you pretty much covered. Because I was gonna bring up about Jeremy Bernard looking like the better receiver, and like even I
I mean,
guess
he's a
Brian Williams.
veteran,
Yeah.
and in the press conference Monday, offense coordinator Ryan Grubb said, like, hey, if you didn't look like Jeremy Bernard out there, you weren't doing your job as a receiver. And so he just called out the whole wide receiver room. So it's like people are like,
You kind of have to.
we've lost the standard and all this. And it's just like, I don't think we have. Like, the coaches are obviously seeing this. Just because you don't see them call out players public does not mean the calling out isn't happening.
Yeah.
Right? Like slow your roll on doing this. This is why you're sitting behind a screen
And they're in the
talking
booth.
about sports and not coaching sports or playing sports. Right? Like, you have no right to. So it's just like, chill out and get over it.
Yeah.
There's
I ain't gonna lie.
one more thing.
Oh yeah, you got
And
it. Then I'll
this is
say
my
something.
last thing. This is my last thing, I promise.
You're
I
good.
saw an Instagram post of someone calling out Greg Byrne, our athletic director. He's like, Greg Byrne's the worst because he put us in a position to, we can't buy out Kalen DeBoer. Greg Byrne got us 8 more years of Nick Saban, Nate Oates, a baseball coach from Maryland who won the Big Ten Coach of the Year 2 years in a row and has brought Alabama baseball back. Shut your mouth blaming this on freaking Greg Byrne. Get your gosh, dude. I hate Alabama fans. I can't lie. I cannot wait for this to go out. I hate
Welcome,
Alabama fans.
welcome to the club. This is why I hate Alabama so much.
I,
Like
I hate
honestly,
Auburn
the
fans
team.
too, but
Yeah, no, I don't like. I kind of hate our fan base at times too, so I get it. But like, like the team is fine, but y'all the most like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Uh, like
bipolar
that
or
works.
like
Like
because look, we're gonna go
no,
in watch
bipolar works.
like
Bipolar works. Yeah. Like as
we're gonna
soon as
go into Georgia and we're gonna be Georgia and they're gonna be posting about like Caitlin DeBoer's the best, like we're fine, and then we're gonna go in like we're the best team in the SEC, and then we're gonna go in and lose to South Carolina at home at South Carolina, and they're gonna be like
yeah,
fire Caitlin DeBoer, he's done. Like,
bro,
shut
and like
up.
that part of your fan base was like that even when Nick Saban was there.
Hey, oh, I know.
Because like when y'all lost to Ole Miss in those like back to back years, everyone's like Nick
Or
Saban just
Texas.
oh yeah, but it's like this is what I really remember. And this is still like to me prime Alabama football. They're like,
Yeah,
oh, Nick Saban sucks. He's not maybe not sucks, but he's losing his edge. He's not as good as he used to
yeah.
be. This is the most
We're out of our
undisciplined
prime.
ever. We should
We
fire
went on to
him and
win
just restart.
two more national
Like two or three.
championships. Let's see, that was 16 and 17. We won 17 and 20. So went on to win two
Yeah,
more
but
national
I,
championships.
oh yeah, it was 14-15. We lost to Ole Miss.
Yeah. No, it
Yeah,
was 15, 16.
it was 15-16. Oh,
Yeah. I'll tell you later about how I memorized that.
but you lose in 14 because y'all didn't go undefeated in 14.
We won 2012. Well, we won a national championship in 2015, though. So 2014 and like 2015, we won.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, that's
So
besides the point. Let's
it
get
doesn't
back on
matter.
track. Let's get back on track.
But let's move on. That's all we have to say about Alabama and Alabama
Yeah.
fans. You guys suck. Get over yourselves. You're
Yeah.
spoiled.
So stop being
Let's move on
bipolar.
to
Stop being
Auburn.
pretentious. Just fucking be humble.
Freaking yeah! Come on now. You're gonna get us
Yeah.
demonetized here. Not that we have sponsors. If you want to sponsor, hit us up. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
Um,
I can sell out. I can sell out. But okay. Yeah. About
let's move on
Auburn.
to
About
Auburn.
Auburn.
I'll get your thoughts first, and then I'll say what I have to say. But go ahead.
So I'm gonna start with like some negatives on the defensive end. I felt like our pass game. Okay, like I don't want to call it an individual player, but holy crap, Caleb Harris was getting toasted in coverage all good day. Usually that's not the level he plays at, so I trust I'm blanking on our defense coordinator's name. But I trust him and Caleb Harris to like
DJ
figure
Durkin.
it out. DJ Durkin, yeah, the guy who killed someone allegedly, not allegedly. Uh, but yeah, I think our pass defense like it has to be better down the stretch, especially when we play teams with much better receiving rooms than just Baylor's. But I thought our run
Mhm.
game on like stopping their run was pretty solid. So
for sure.
props to that game plan. But on offense, like I can't complain with that because I think I sent you something about how or their coach said how they want to like make us beat them through the air and like try to take away our run game. And we respond by having 6 yards to carry and over 300 rushing yards.
And most of that coming from Jackson Arnold.
And most of that coming from Jackson Arnold, which that's what I did like about the game he had this weekend. But part of me, like, he still has that issue with his issues with passing because he threw the ball like less than 15 times.
Yeah, and he was just at 50%.
Yeah,
but I think around
even on
times.
those like 2 or 3 of those balls, like that could have mined off the rip, or like the crusher to Campbell that could have been placed better. That fantastic catch Malcolm Simmons had down like from the slot on the go.
Yeah.
That also, like, that placement could have definitely been better. So, like, I guess I can't complain too much with how bad our QB play's been because he's still beta catchable. But I would appreciate if we could do more than 100 passing yards and 0 passing touchdowns.
For sure. And that's what I was, and that's like, I'll speak on this in a little bit, but go ahead.
And also with our run game, I loved how he only had 2 carries. But we kind of used Eric Singleton, how Kyle Shanahan used Deebo Samuel, and that we'd also bring him in the backfield. Yeah. Because of how elusive he is, you got to find him to get the ball in any way possible.
Funny, we did that with Jeremy Bernard and couldn't get anything done. Yeah, basically everything.
Yeah, but he still had like 150 yards.
That's true. Basically everything he said, I agree on. I would say your defense looked really good, but like you said, like passing wise, like there were some issues, like where you are getting beat deep. I mean, Kobe Prentice wide open. Now that was just, you had one safety out there, and that was just a a seam route, like a cut in seam route, and it was just a better offensive play there.
100% agree.
As for offense, I think the offensive line could have been a little bit better. I think a lot of these rush yards did get kind of over pushed because of a bad Baylor defense.
They
like it wasn't a good rush defense
the entire game.
Yeah, but the offensive line was kind of inconsistent. And for the only reason I say that is because Auburn, like everyone's saying coming in this year, like this is the most like veteran O line, like they're going to be really good this year, and it's like they could have been.
They'll get that room for improvement.
Exactly. For me, I'd say the same thing about Arnold. He either took too long, and also like comes with the O line not giving him enough time, or he couldn't hit his receivers consistently. So I think when it gets to better defenses, now you have about 2 more weeks before you play a better defense than what you saw in Baylor. So these things can be patched. I think other than that, Auburn is a pretty scary team if Jackson Arnold plays consistently and the play calling is there. I think if you're an Auburn fan, you have to be like, why the heck did we only pass for 100 yards when you have Perry and Cam Coleman and
Malcolm, Eric Singleton.
Yeah, Eric Singleton and Malcolm Simmons. And it's just like, you have all these guys and you pass for 100 yards. And it's just like, that's scary.
No, I agree. But also at the same
you're
time,
also taking
when you're rushing it that efficiently, like, don't switch it up.
Matter. Yeah.
And also,
for sure.
I want to say, I want to say this too. To me, like, so before this year, like during the Freeze tenure, it seemed like we'd be able to get into a lead by doing what works. But in the second half, I feel like we were collapsing so much because we were trying to go away from that.
Right.
But
that was one thing I was excited for. I mean,
against Baylor was we continued to stay with what was working, and it helped us keep getting those late drives down the field and into the red zone and scoring when we needed it. So being able to see that was a big sigh of relief for me.
Yeah, I would say that was something to look forward to, is y'all kept kind of the same game plan the whole way. And going into the half, I mean, y'all are up 7. Like they scored at the end of the half, you were up 7.
Yes.
And so it was a close game. And I looked at my guys who I was watching with, and I was like, this is going to be like, this is how we're going to see Auburn this year. Like, are they going to be able to finish? Because last year in these games, they couldn't. And I mean, you were able to finish with a pretty solid win. And so, I think Auburn looked pretty good. I think y'all have some things to look forward to, some more things that could be patched up. but you have 2
100%
more
agree.
weeks to prepare before you play a better team.
Also 100. Yep.
Um,
And that's what I'm
so
looking forward to in these next 2 weeks. Is like
yeah,
hopefully we can get our passing game like because obviously game reps mean so much more than just practice reps ever can
hmm
do. So hopefully getting those like actual end game reps against teams that we should be able to beat pretty convincingly will help us down the stretch once we get into like the SEC play against Oklahoma, A&M, Georgia back to back to back, and hopefully get his Arnold's confidence and decision making up and improved.
I think this game, like, it should give Auburn fans hope
100%.
for the future. Now, I still, still would be worried about what the future looks like with it being
Yeah,
under Hugh Freeze because it's like, is the play calling going to be this good all year round? Or,
I agree. I think this is still a
um,
concern for me.
yeah, I think it still needs to be a concern. Now, we'll see. And you have a few more games before you really have to look at that and really
Hmm.
consider, is Hugh Freeze the answer? And so I think Hugh Freeze bought himself 4 more weeks, maybe
Yep.
5. So we'll see. Now, I think this year is going to be a little bit different because of how tough that SEC schedule is for y'all and how many games you
Mhm.
play back to back to back to really good teams. So I think Auburn fans need to be more gracious to Hugh Freeze this year. But yeah,
I just think with him have like kind of showing that he's changing up how he close out games. Like that's gonna be so much more beneficial. That I think
yeah,
people will be more willing to give him that like kind of like I don't want to say
yeah,
break, but like I'm sure you're picking up what I'm putting down. I can't think of the
yeah,
word.
for sure. For sure. I'm more grace. People are going to be gracious to him in
Yeah,
this. So,
that's a good way of
yeah.
describing this.
Well, enough about that. SEC play. SEC as a whole, we lost 1 game of the ACC, so the SEC is still better than the ACC. Thank God. I know the loss was Alabama. Sucks. But LSU, Brian
That's too bad.
Kelly, finally winning finally
Big
winning
game.
a season opener for the first time in this was the 6th year they win one. So they're 1 for 6
This is
now. And
the yeah
it's a ranked team in Clemson. That
top
Clemson
five
team,
ranking.
that Clemson team was like one of the scariest teams to begin with, and they do it. And honestly,
Look good
LSU's
doing it.
defense, LSU's defense looked incredible against Cade
Yeah.
Klubnik in that Clemson offense. So I'm excited to see what Brian Kelly has cooking down there in Baton Rouge until he comes to Tuscaloosa. But Tennessee handled business against Syracuse in Atlanta. I think that was a pretty good game. Um, South Carolina handled business against the. Why am I
They play
blanking on the name?
Virginia Tech.
Yeah, Virginia
Virginia
Tech
Tech.
against the Hokies. Thank you. I knew it was orange. I was like, I just was looking at it too. They handled business there. It wasn't like their offense didn't do enough for me almost. I expected Lenore Sellers to kind of do more
Yeah.
against an ACC defense, but didn't really do it. But Shea Beamer 1-0, and yeah, I mean it's a pretty good week for the SEC besides Texas. Um,
I mean, SC only lost 2 games, so can't really complain about it.
yeah, and that
14
was a
and 2 is
close game.
always a good week. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Texas does a pretty good job defensively against Ohio State, who could be really insane on offense. They do a pretty good job, something Tennessee couldn't do last year. So I think Tennessee is scary because Joey Aguilar looked insanely consistent, and we see that their quarterback from last year did not look
Look,
good against
did
Utah.
not look good at all.
Did not look good against Utah. Nico, I'm a move for $1 million. Did not look good against
Nico,
Utah.
I'm
So
a overthrow another receiver.
yeah, so it'll be exciting to see what Tennessee does.
He looks like
Yeah, SEC as a whole does pretty good. There wasn't any teams that really struggled except for the 2 losses, I'd say.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I think one that was surprising to us that we talked about in the intro, Notre Dame versus Miami. Miami gets the win. I think we were both expecting Notre Dame to get the win in a close one. They scored a little bit more points. Final was 27-24. But the Miami could be a dangerous team, a top 10 win against I
Yeah.
think a good Notre Dame team. And so we'll see how Miami fares in a pretty mid ACC conference. Now, I think if FSU has the chance to go on, and they look like a lot better team than last year. I think they finally have a run game and
100%.
a good offensive line. I think if they move on with Gus Malzahn being the play caller and offensive coordinator, they'll do pretty well in the ACC as well. So yeah, but as for Alabama and Auburn next week, Auburn versus South Alabama, what are you expecting there? Yeah,
So that's what I was saying earlier about like the 2 games before we go into the SEC play. What I want to see is us air the ball out to help get like actual game reps of throwing for Arnold. But knowing how we usually handle these like lesser teams, we're probably just gonna ground and pound the ball down
yeah.
their throats. But like, I really want to see Arnold get some like throw the ball. Wow, I cannot talk today. Jesus, I want to see Arnold throw
Throw the
the
ball
ball
more.
more than
Yeah.
17 times, so he can
Well,
help
I
build that
think
game chemistry with receivers.
I think you'll see it. I mean, last year
Yeah,
Peyton Thorne against Alabama, or was that 2 years ago against Alabama? No, it was last year, but against
yeah, it
Alabama
was last
A&M.
year.
I
It's
mean,
Alabama, man.
65 points. Peyton Thorne threw the ball pretty well in that
I
game,
agree.
and everyone got excited. No offense. I think you'll at least see it in the first half because y'all do
Yeah.
need to patch some stuff. Defensively, what do you want to see defensively?
Sorry, I was looking at Thorne's game reps from
You're good.
his box score from that Alabama game. I just want to see. I don't really know, but some more consistency in our pass defense would be appreciated. I'm just expecting us to take care of business and blow them out. I don't know if this is real or not, but their Barstool account said, like, apparently their coach said that they're going to beat the hell out of Auburn or something like
I
that.
did see that. I did see that.
So I hope we use that as what Alabama should have done when Tommy Castellanos was saying stuff and use that as bullets and board material to just go out there and
Yeah.
really dominate.
Some good rat poison, as Nick Saban would call it.
Yep. Show
Yeah,
we're a Power 4 school and they're not.
yeah. I would say the same thing. With us against UL Monroe, I want to see better run game. I think
Yeah.
not Nick. I'm thinking of Nick Sheridan. He's not our OC anymore, just our quarterback coach. Ryan Grubb, the offense coordinator, said
Mhm.
like if we weren't down 2 scores going into the fourth quarter, we would have ran the ball up to 45 carries. So
Yeah.
I'm expected to see that. Kevin Riley got majority of our touches as a freshman, and with Jam Miller being out, I think that's a good future. So excited to see that. But we also had so many guys in the backfield get touches, so that's pretty exciting. And yeah, just to see that,
I love a good RB by committee.
yeah, just to see that our offense is kind of cohesive. I don't know if Ryan Williams is going to play this game, just going out late with a concussion last game. We'll see. But he's day to day right now. He's in concussion protocol and his day to day. But I'm expecting if he plays for him to get more touches and some stuff. I feel like it was a very base offense, which is kind of what I expected. But to see more of the Ryan Grubb like motions and the kind of pulls to pull, defenders this way and that way, it's what I'm expecting to see. So yeah, defensively, we have to attack. I
Yeah.
think we can't let them run all over us again. I think defense has to be so aggressive that it's not funny. Um, and just for our
So we
leaders
don't
to
get
step up and take accountability for that and have a good week at practice and just like expect that and not be so, not wanting to get the ball. So I think Alabama wins this one. I hope it's not close, but I said it wouldn't be close last week and we got our butts handed to us. So I think we really got to come out here and win this and then go play Wisconsin the next week at home and really bounce back then. So yeah, there's no other big games this week in the SEC or in the top 10 or 25, really. So we'll kind of see
that's the OU again, but
what
that's like the
happens this
element
week.
good way.
Yeah. But we'll both hope for wins, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday. This is Rivals in the Booth. I'm your host, Kyle Holton. That's my best friend and co host, John Michael Roberts. Roll Tide. See you next week.
Or are you?